Steve Dahl is the Pilgrimage Outreach Director at the Shrine of Our Lady of Guadalupe, nestled in the hills of La Crosse, Wisconsin. Steve shares the sacred art that covers the grounds of the shrine, from walking the pathways, visiting the Pilgrim Center, and reaching the top where the shrine church sits. Visitors are exposed to a variety of sculptures, paintings, and the sacred architecture that encapsulates the grounds. Steve shares his personal favorites, his love for the shrine, and invites any and all to walk amongst the beauty that is the Shrine of Our Lady of Guadalupe. He just asks that you leave the dog at home. I'm Amy, and he's Brent, and this is La Crosse Local.
Yeah, my name's Steve Dahl, and I was born in La Crosse, raised here, never left. And I work at the Shrine of Our Lady of Guadalupe in La Crosse. I've been here for about, 11 years ago is actually when I started as a volunteer. And eventually a position opened up and applied for it, and I've never left since.
I think one thing that people don't know about the shrine itself is that, it houses many great works of art, and I believe you call it sacred art. Can you give us some history on that?
Sure. And to back up a little bit, a shrine is a place of religious pilgrimage. And because the whole point of a pilgrimage is to go and to surround yourself in a peaceful and tranquil, beautiful environment that lifts your eyes and mind to God, there's different components to that assist with that. And one of them is sacred art. And sacred art is meant to raise your eyes to God and move your soul. And it should be beautiful to succeed at that. And it's interesting, the main commissioned artist, his name is Anthony Visco, world-renowned artist, has an art studio in Rome and that sort of thing. But he said without realizing it that our founder had created a National Academy of Sacred Art right here in the United States. And I really think that the shrine is that. It's not known too well to be a National Academy of Sacred Art, but that's just part of the experience here.
From the Pilgrimage Center, you start taking the walk up to the Shrine Church. What can people expect to see as they progress and get closer to the top?
Well, when I explain the shrine to somebody who's never been here, I say it's like a cross between a Roman cathedral, a state park, and a botanical garden, because the shrine has 120 private acres. And as you mentioned, when you first arrive, you get to the Welcome Center and work your way through. You can grab a map if you want to. But then you start heading up a paved trail that goes through the woods. It's slightly uphill. And along this trail, there's beautiful flower gardens. Right now, things are really starting to bloom. And by mid-July, they will be just overflowing. We try to have the most beautiful grounds in town. And last year, I think we really succeeded, and we will again this year. But as the pilgrim starts their way up the Shrine Trail, they'll experience the gardens. They'll experience nature. We have a local deer herd that often visits the pilgrims. There's just a really serene, natural experience. And then eventually the trail winds up through into the woods, and there's a great canopy, and there's beautiful statues of saints and different things along the way. And then eventually it opens up sort of midway up the bluff to a beautiful plaza. And on that plaza, we have the Shrine Church and also a friary where we have 3 Franciscan friars who live there and offer the services daily for the visitors.
You kind of talked about it there with the state park element, being in it and also experiencing your surroundings with the natural landscape. On the website, you also reference sacred architecture. Can you tell us about that as well?
Sure. It's just another facet, you might say, of a shrine, and that the sacred architecture helps to lift the pilgrims' minds and eyes and hearts to God when they're here. And it's something that you could just, sit in a pew and look up and just stare at the beauty and be inspired by it. And it's interesting, our main commissioned architect, his name is Duncan Stroik, and he's a world-renowned architect, and he's spent a lot of time in Europe studying the most beautiful churches from prior ages. And he's been able to successfully recreate those elements of those churches right here in the United States. In fact, I hear from pilgrims all the time who've been to the most beautiful churches in Europe and Rome and Italy and all over. And they say this church is as beautiful as any church that I saw when I was in Europe, that's here right in our own backyard in the Driftless region.
Yeah, I can agree with that, being at some of those churches overseas and being in this area and living here and taking my kids up there to walk around and check it out and just take a break from it all. What is your favorite work or artists? What is something that you maybe revisit from time to time?
It's amazing. Having worked here for 9 years, I still stumble upon details and things that I didn't see before, even though I'm here every day, because there's so much detail. And the shrine has, beautiful paintings. We have murals, frescoes, beautiful statuary in wood and marble and in bronze. A lot of our sacred art depicts the lives of the saints. And the saints were like the Hall of Fame of Christians, those who lived heroic lives of virtue. And I think my favorite piece of sacred art at the shrine is a life-size statue of Saint Kateri Tekakwitha. And she was a Native American Mohawk from upstate New York who converted to the Catholic faith. And there's a beautiful statue of her as you're walking up the pilgrimage trail off in the woods near kind of a rock grotto where she's kneeling and holding a cross made of wood. It's just beautiful. It's just very, very well placed here in the woods and the Driftless region for that saint who walked this nation many years ago.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that work. I could definitely visualize it right now. What's next for you and the shrine?
Well, the shrine is navigating its way through this health crisis that we've all been subjected to, and doing the best we can to be open as a place of refuge for people who either have personal crises they're going through, or trials, or sorrows, or even joys, just depending on the shrines here for all of those situations, but also for society as a whole. Shrines are places where people can come during times of great need. And I think we'll get through this, and the shrine has maintained its hours. We're open daily. We have certain precautions in place, but anybody's welcome to come out. On TripAdvisor, I see all the time people who will leave reviews and say, I'm not Catholic or I'm not particularly religious, but I went to the shrine and it's beautiful and I felt at peace there. And I think that's something that just about anybody can appreciate, despite what background they may come from.
Where can people find out more about the shrine and its art?
So you can visit our website, which is www.guadalupeshrine.org. If you just Google Shrine of Our Lady of Guadalupe in La Crosse or Shrine in La Crosse, it'll probably be the first thing to come up. And there's lots of information on there about our hours, everything somebody would need to know about making a pilgrimage to the shrine.
La Crosse Local Podcast is a production of River Travel Media. Do you have an interview idea you would like to share with us? Message us on Facebook at La Crosse Locals. Subscribe to the La Crosse Local Podcast on your favorite podcast app. If you like us, rate us 5 stars. We thank you for it.